Okay, how about that intro? I'm literally just messing around with software. I did it live too. Smart. Always experiment live. Don't practice first, don't make sure it works, just do it. I don't even have my comments open, there we go. Yeah, let me know that if that worked on your side. I tried to put a little title screen up and a little music. Seemed kind of cool. Ideally, I'd have someone doing that, but I did it all myself. Pretty fancy. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. Thanks for joining me. Just doing a little Q&A, Wednesday Q&A, usual deal. Feel free to fire those questions in. I see some people are already here, so please feel free. I just said hello to the UPS man a minute ago on my street. I got a new grip for my Cobra putter that showed up, which is a Grip Master, as you can see. Kind of the reduced, I don't know why they call it reduced taper. There is no taper. It kind of looks like a Super Stroke except leather, and it's out of the box like crazy sticky, which I love. I get mixed reactions. Some people will like look at my clubs, they'll pick one up and they'll go like, "Oh, that leather is like sticky. Why do you like that?" And then the other half go, "Oh, that's like really nice. I like that." So for me, I like it. I like a sticky grip. Not lots of tack, then you don't feel like you're gonna let go of it. I like a Super Stroke grip that are these shape, but they always feel kind of slippery to me. This feels like your hands are just not gonna move. You're very sort of locked in. So I actually have the grip before the putter, so the putter is on its way shortly. I know it was in stock in the States. They just have to ship it up here. And then Andrew at Cobra is going to bend it 1 degree strong for me, like you guys would have seen in the fit. So once that's done, hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll be playing with it on the golf course. All right, let's get into it, shall we? From Sebastian, thank you. Yes, May the 4th. Let me move myself out of the way here. May the 4th be with you as well. Star Wars Day. Let me make this a bit smaller. There we go. Good question. Do you have any good resources for folks with generalized anxiety disorder? Yeah, that's something that I struggle with as part of my diagnosis as well. Resources, it's kind of up to you how you want to manage it, right? I mean, I'm not sure whether you've gone to see a doctor yet or whether you kind of want to try to manage it on your own. There's a lot of medication that helps, I can tell you that. So I have some medication myself that definitely helps manage the symptoms of that. There's some good books I could recommend to you that sort of just put it in perspective. But depending on what you're looking for, I think you just have to decide, are you looking to manage the symptoms yourself? Or, I would always recommend you go get some professional help. Therapy, big time, is very helpful. So I would push you towards that if you're comfortable with it. And I would recommend at least trying some medication because generalized anxiety is very uncomfortable. You're just, by most people's standards, you're just anxious for no reason, but you can't control it. And I struggle with that myself. So it's definitely a very unpleasant thing to deal with. So hopefully that helps. But I would definitely encourage you to not try to manage it on your own. It's a pretty tough problem to deal with, and it always helps if you have someone on your side. All right. Okay, so question regarding clubhead speed. I would say I have pretty okay technique, but I feel like I'm swinging slow compared to my friends. Okay. How much does physical fitness factor in? It factors in somewhat. I've been in very mixed physical conditions over the course of the last 10 years, and I've had clubhead speed, so I can't say it's the only, it's a massive factor. You see guys on the PGA Tour who are not exactly the pinnacle of fitness that swing 125 miles an hour. So it's a factor, and you can definitely help your clubhead speed, but it's a pretty big commitment. So you have to decide, are you going to commit to going to the gym all the time and probably needing to consult with a trainer to do the right type of exercises. So you have to decide if you're going to do those types of things or not. And if you're not, then look for other ways to develop it. I would do speed specific training, do super speed or some, one of these training programs. I'm blanking on a bunch of other ones. There's like 5 or 6 that you could probably pick from. That would be sport specific, so specific to the motion of golf and swinging faster. I would do that. Chances are you're physically capable of swinging faster, you're just not doing it. That would be my guess. And yeah, you mentioned that here. Sorry, I should have brought this up. You said you're not a gym rat. So I I wouldn't worry about being a gym rat. It's not a, I mean, I could swing over 110, 150 miles an hour when I was younger, and I literally weighed like 140 pounds, like soaking wet and wearing boots. So I was not a physically strong person at all. And honestly, even right now, I'm not that strong. You know, I have a lot of issues with my body. I don't have a ton of physical strength, so I wouldn't focus on that. I would focus on the ability to create speed, and the ability to create speed can be trained. And I would use something like super speed. Honestly, I think that would be really good for you. Nick is saying, would you recommend going to X if you're 108 on TrackMan? Yeah, probably, Nick. Probably. He'd probably be about 111, 112 on Foresight. I wouldn't go for the stiffest X on earth. You know, I wouldn't go, you know, I wouldn't be maybe a Ventus Black, you know, 7X kind of guy. But yeah, you could play X Flex. I would just be selective about what you use. Seth, hello. Yep, thank you. Stay for as long as you can, pal. Matthew, I don't have a ton of experience with the 105, if I'm honest. The 120 is a really good shaft. In the stiffer flexes, it plays very, very stiff. Like the TX is really a cool shaft. I think the 105 is a great shaft for a ton of people. It's got enough weight. I think in stiff, it's like 110 grams, so it's enough weight to be stable and kind of provide you a feeling of where the club is in space, but it's not so heavy that it burdens you. So, you know, you're talking about two very different people. Someone looking at Modus 120 is probably not looking at Modus 105, so different crowd. Steph is asking, do you feel that quality has gotten worse these days in clubs? Interesting question. I've had 3 heads crack in the last 18 months, 2 sim heads and 1 G410. I mean, the thing is, Steph, you are faster than 99.9% of people who play golf. I've cracked a few heads in my day as well. It's not to pick on any company. I've cracked Titleist head. I've cracked a couple ping heads. You know, I've seen people crack TaylorMade heads. No company is immune to it. So, no, I don't think the quality's gotten worse. Honestly, it would shock me if the quality hasn't gotten better. Just, you know, technology's advancing, quality control is advancing. I would be shocked. I think, you know, you're going to have to deal with that once in a while because you swing really, really fast. It's just the reality of it. They are built to withstand your swing speed, but you are putting a lot more stress on a club head than most people are. So, fast guy problems, right? From Ninja TV, good morning. Any suggestions for someone with a neutral grip hitting a lot of poles? Interesting. Huh. You have a neutral grip, but you're inside out, so you're not steep. I would say it's probably a sequencing issue then. I can hit a ton of poles as well, even though I'm inside out and my grip's not that strong. I would say it's probably sequencing. So your arms probably get ahead of your body rotation. So I would work on drills where you feel the arms stay a bit more passive, focus more on the rotation of the body, leading the downswing. That should help with the pulls. It just seems like your arms are probably dominating the first motion. You can still be inside out, and you can still hit pulls. It's just a sequencing thing. It's a bit odd. I know exactly what you mean. I actually, to be honest, I struggle with the same issue at times. So sequencing, work on your sequencing. Glenn, hello pal. Appreciate that. So question is regarding hitting clubs more consistently. How should I sequence my swing to make sure I can push for higher speeds without losing accuracy? Yeah, it's kind of like what I was just talking about for Steph there. You've got to make sure that while you push for higher speeds, you aren't ripping with the hands and arms. You've got to make sure the lower body and the upper body even are turning, and the arms are kind of being the speed of the arms being generated by the rotation of the body. And don't have it so that your arms are generating speed and your body's kind of trying to catch up. That's when you'll lose consistency big time. So as long as you keep the sequence so that the lower body and then the upper body and the arms is the order of kind of operations in the downswing, you should still be able to put, and to be honest, it'll help you generate more speed. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure your hands aren't getting too overactive, hands and arms. Victor, just a quick question. Would you recommend doing drills at home without a ball? Yeah, totally. So, I mean, yeah, obviously a net would be ideal, but if you're in an apartment, that's obviously not viable. But yeah, Larry's sequencing drills, as he always tells me, you're learning the motion even if you don't strike a ball. So absolutely, you can do some practice swings without striking a ball. You can do movement drills. I mean, you tell me. If it's worth your time, if you don't mind putting in time that isn't hitting a ball, it can be a little bit boring. But yeah, there's no doubt about it. You can train your body to work on those movement patterns. Now, you can't replace it. You still need to go hit balls at other times, but yeah, it's still a worthwhile thing for you to do that indoors, definitely. Seth is asking on your wedge. Okay, so the wedge matrix, talking about hitting my set of wedges different distances based on swing length. Do you grip down a little bit, or do you place your hands at the same as the full shot? Yeah, I mostly place them at the same as the full shot. If I wanted to take a couple yards off, or maybe 5 yards off one of those distances, I would probably grip down just a shade. Or if I had a weird lie or something like that. But for me, for the most part, I don't grip down on it. I don't want to, just because the wedges are so short as it is. I just find it really uncomfortable to make anything but a chipping swing with a grip down, length. So I would say use, a half-inch grip down to change your distance. But for me, I generally recommend, I think, still playing the normal grip location. I just think wedges are short enough as it is, right? Morning. Hello. Morning, morning, morning. You're challenging me here, Sam. Okay, I'll do my best. Sam's saying a utility shaft to complement Nippon 950 GH Neo in the irons. Okay, so those are really nice, lightweight steel shafts, if I am remembering correctly. So utility shaft wise, I'd probably pick something no heavier than 70 grams, 70 to 80 grams. You could go a lot of different routes. You could go, I don't know if they make Ventus Red. I'm going to say Ventus Red if they do make a hybrid shaft. I think they do. Graphite design, just the DI, like the orange one in a softer flex and the lighter weight might be nice for you. What else? Just stick with something around. Acra has really nice shafts in the 70 to 75 gram range as well. Take a look at their website. I would just stick with that weight category because if I'm not wrong, I think what you're dealing with is a fairly lightweight steel, so you don't want to have a huge jump into your utility club. From Alex. Alex says, I have a pretty good swing and strike the ball pretty well most of the time, but some days I feel like I'm just praying to make contact. Yeah, it happens to everybody. I went to the range yesterday and utterly wasted my time. It was just, I felt like I just couldn't hit the ball at all. Like, I think I was doing some drills. I hit one shank, which happens, but like there were people on the range and I was kind of like, oh God, like I hit just like I was embarrassed almost. And then after that, I felt so like worked up and anxious that I couldn't hit the ball well. It happens to everybody. So, for me it was a range session. So, I hit some more balls and I just left. I didn't try to grind it out. Sometimes it's just not worth it. And that's same with the golf course. If you have days where some days you just feel like you can't make anything good happen, you're kind of best to just sort of accept it, do your best, focus on swinging to the target as much as you can. Don't get technical with it. Honestly, drink a couple beers or White Claws or your drink of choice and just relax. It does happen. No matter what level you get to, you're going to have days that are just like disproportionately terrible compared to your normal days. It's part of it. Okay, can you go over your grip routine? Yeah, I think for me, I've always had the habit, luckily I have a grip right here. I've always had the habit of sort of like really making sure my top hand, which is my right hand, is set quite well. So this is not going to be easy to do. I'll try my best. How's that? Is that reasonably in focus? So I'll usually hold the grip like in front of me like that. I'll kind of set, this is my top hand, remember? I'll do it right-handed to screw it. I'll set the top hand kind of in the fingers here. You don't want to be doing this, obviously, setting in the palm. So I'll make sure it's in the fingers. I'll make sure this heel pad of the hand gets on top. And then I'll make sure the trigger finger and thumb are kind of applying a bit of pressure. And you can see that V would probably point to my right shoulder. That's sort of my routine. I often will set it at like arm's length like this. And that's unconsciously what I do kind of before every shot. You'll probably see me do it. And then from there, I would probably set this, get in focus, please. Get in focus. Apologies, I'm trying to do this no-handed. Then I would set this hand on there afterwards. Similar thing, right? Make sure it's gripped in the fingers. You obviously don't want your right hand on top of the grip like that. You'll obviously want it to be a little bit more under, so that the V is pointing a little bit more to your right shoulder. So yeah, grip routine is pretty important. I don't spend a ton of time on it, but I do before every shot. I don't casually grab the club and hit a shot. I definitely make sure that hand is on there properly, especially the top hand. Make sure it's on there in the fingers, make sure it's strong enough, and make sure you're gripping it kind of with some pressure between the forefinger and the thumb. And hopefully that helps. Dave, I have not, but I will make a note of that. Dr. Andrew Huberman, I will make a note. Yeah, definitely, I will check that out. Absolutely. Have not heard of it, but there is a lot of podcasts on my list to get into. That's for sure. Zach, I'm probably not the best person to answer this. Is the VA Nemesis still the most counterbalanced shaft on the market? I mean, I would guess that it is, but I don't know for a fact whether or not it is. I haven't heard of anything that's as counterbalanced as that, but I'm not in the shop checking swing weights of stuff anymore very often, so I would guess. I mean, if another company made one that counterbalanced, you probably would hear about them marketing, hey, this is really, really counterbalanced. So as far as I know, no. As far as I know, no. RJ, great question. So RJ's asking, what's the first step in reaching out for mental health help? It's a great question. It's tough question. I think it will depend on your situation. So let's say in most situations, I think the path of least resistance would be to talk to your partner, or if you're younger, a parent, or whatever the situation. If you have a roommate who's your best friend, whoever the closest person is to you, I would talk with them first about what you're struggling with, so you immediately don't feel alone, and you have someone that can help you out. Now that can be a challenge at times. Sometimes that person's not receptive, so I can't say that's the solution all the time, or a first step all the time, but I would say that makes it a lot easier to go from there. And then from there, if you have a supportive person, or if you're gonna have to do it on your own, I'd be looking, for, use the internet, honestly. Look for people, local to you that are well reviewed in terms of therapists. Like just a basic, psychotherapy session would be very, very helpful. The path of least resistance, even more so, with something like Talkspace. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to really call. You just sign up for the app. They'll pair you with somebody. You do a session. If you resonate with them, you keep going. If you don't, you pick somebody else. So if you were to ask me what a great first step would be, it might be that. It might be just to try something like Talkspace. That's basically what my first step was, and it really helped me. So follow up, RJ. Tell me if that's helpful to you. If it's not, maybe give me a little more information about your situation, and I can try to be a little bit more specific. JY is a great... Sam, I'll get yours after, bud. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. J-Boy's asking, I find some people I play golf with tend to get mad after every bad shot. Yep, you're going to play golf with those people, that's for sure. Maybe not forever. Hard to bring them off the ledge. Any thoughts on your in-round thoughts? My thought is it's not your responsibility. I mean, it's going to affect your enjoyment of the game, unfortunately, if you play with someone who's just losing it after every bad shot. It's tough, man. I mean, think of a time you've been playing like crap and you're kind of getting mad after every shot. How, when someone tells you, hey, relax or something, I mean, sometimes it kind of snaps you out of it, but other times you're just like, you know what? You would probably rather just tell this person to screw off. It's tough. It's not the easiest thing. Unfortunately, sometimes you're just going to play with people that take it way too seriously. I do it sometimes. Everyone does it sometimes. In that case, you just kind of leave them to it. Usually, if you just kind of give them some space and not say a whole lot, usually people will kind of be like, oh, I'm kind of in my own world here. And then maybe they'll come back to reality a bit and just realize, hey, I might be taking this a bit seriously. So it's a tough one to manage. You guys put your thoughts in there. You put what you do if you play with someone who's having a bad time, because we've all been there. We've all been that person, and it's tough to get ourselves out of it. So it's tough, never mind trying to get somebody else out of it, right? Sam says he's trying to get over a groin injury. Yeah, those are painful as hell. So I can start to work on opening my hips and rotating more. Any drills I recommend? The cross-handed one can help, but it's more of a release drill. Someone was smart when they commented that on the drill. It does help you rotate a bit, but it's a little bit more of a release and backswing drill. What would be a good drill for you? Maybe trying Larry's map out drill. You can just literally search map out drill. You'll get Larry Chung's thing. That would be a good one for you. Working with a smart ball would be good for you. Working with like a Watson hanger would be good for you. Anything like that would be great. And just stick to half swing so you don't put too much pressure on your injury. I'm on a roll here. I'm answering every single question. Every single question. Did anyone catch my intro? I know there was only about 5 people on it when I actually launched. Tell me if you caught that intro or if it even worked. For all I know, it was just complete dead air and I was just sitting here staring at the screen, but hopefully somebody saw it. Matt, tips on how to focus when it comes time to play your shot. During a round, I find it hard to switch my mindset. Yeah, when it's your turn to play. I would establish a very set pre-shot routine, Matt. That's the best and really only way to get yourself into that mode. So if you're chatting with your buddies, walking up the fairway or in the cart, you're having a beer, and then it's like, okay, all of a sudden it's time to play my shot. Nobody flips a switch, but I would initiate some kind of pre-shot routine. You know what I mean? So whatever that looks like to you, when it's your turn, I'm assuming there's stuff you do before your turn to move yourself into the mode of playing, right? You've checked a yardage, you've decided on a club. When you actually go to hit your shot, I think just start your pre-shot routine. That's how you mentally tell yourself, hey, it's my turn, focus on the shot. And then when you've hit the shot, you accept the result and you walk away from it and you kind of continue your conversation, and then until the next time, same deal. That's my simple solution. I'm not great at that, to be honest. That's why I'm not giving you a ton of advice, because sometimes I can be a little bit sort of, I don't know, I'm almost like I don't unplug between shots, so it's almost like tough to feel like you're focused because I'm focused for too long. It's best to sort of unplug between shots, focus for that period of time, and then kind of like snap out of it for a little bit. Give yourself a break. Steph, have I played with Aventus TR yet? Yes, I have. That's good to hear that you're liking it. Yeah, I think I've hit some great drives with it. I'm not swinging particularly well on the course right now because, as I mentioned, when I was talking earlier about that anxiety kind of issue that someone was having, I'm feeling very anxious lately, and it's not specific to golf. And so it's made it a little bit hard for me to play well, but I have definitely hit a few really, really good drives. Like we have a drivable par 4 way up the hill at Cedar Brae. It's like the 15th hole. The other day I drove it like literally right on the surface and had an eagle putt. That was a really good, like memorable drive that I hit with that combo. So yeah, the driver is great. I just need to work on stuff like pre-shot routine, getting myself into focus, calming myself down. But the driver's not going anywhere. It's a fantastic combo. I think it's one of the better sort of setups I've had. The Titleist last year was really, really good. My Ping G400 years ago, I remember that with the TPT. That was one of my favorite drivers too. So I can see this potentially being one of my kind of like all-time favorites. Thank you. Any thoughts on the new level 623 CBs? Winning most wanted players iron category in my golf spy. Is that a direct to consumer category or just like they won the whole thing? Maybe someone can clarify. I mean, they're nice irons. I think they're one of the better direct to consumer companies. Most wanted, I'm assuming, means best testing on their part. I mean, I don't know. I think there's better looking clubs. They probably perform as well as any other sort of CB style clubs. So I don't know. Those guys do really detailed testing. So it's not I don't think it's for me to say whether or not it's certainly feasible. But they have a lot of people test them and they have a panel. So I think it's cool for new level, that's for sure. They probably wouldn't be my most wanted, but that doesn't, it's not up to me, obviously. So, good for them. They are good looking irons, and I've seen a lot of reviews of them that are positive, so not shocking. I do think anyone who reviews stuff like that, I do think that direct to consumer should be its own category. That's my personal opinion, because most of these companies are not doing their own engineering and R&D and design. A lot of them are getting designs from pre-made molds from factories, so I don't personally think they should be mixed in with everything else, but that's just my opinion. Scott, I absolutely can. So currently, I'll give you everything. So we have a person in treatment right now. They finished the main course of their treatment and they're actually now sort of in the maintenance phase, which is great. The clinic is also actively looking for someone as like a second recipient. So we'll probably have 2 people in treatment before the end of the month. I have submitted almost all the paperwork to the law firm, so it's almost done. The last piece is just in draft form, should be done within the next week. And then all the paperwork should be submitted to Government of Canada, or CRA, which is our Canada Revenue Agency, for approval. Hopefully in the next few weeks, which means that it will be in submission, in review, and then hopefully approved by the fall. So yeah, the updates are we've actively got stuff going on. The paperwork and sort of the official stuff is pretty much almost finished. I just have to get the final stuff submitted, which hopefully will get approved pretty as quickly as it possibly can. You know how these agencies work; they're not the quickest. And then I'm working on some little stuff on the side here and there. So I've got, you guys will. Oh, you know what? What a segue! Thank you, Scott. Segue of the day goes to Scott. Working on stuff like this to start generating some revenue. You guys would have seen my Instagram post. So I'm partnering with Invictus. You can see in the bottom right there, they're going to make me a custom Preserve Mental Health Foundation glove, which is really cool. So I'll be selling that glove probably in a couple months directly on their website, where the proceeds will go to the charity. That'll be a really cool fundraising initiative. And in the meantime, if you guys want to pick up just their regular glove, which is really good, you'll probably see me using it. I've been using it already on the channel. You can get 10% off with my code there if you'd like, but they are designing that glove that you see there, which is really cool. So I'm starting to look for suppliers to do stuff like that. Gloves are now done, obviously. I'm going to look for some head covers, maybe some apparel, to start to generate some revenue from that. So yeah, lots going on. I appreciate you asking. Thank you. From Sean. Sean, my pleasure, my friend. And hello to Saskatchewan. Hopefully your winter is over there for you guys. It should be by now, right? We're starting to warm up. You guys should hopefully start to warm up out there as well. Andrew. Yep, I'm glad to hear it as well, Andrew. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad that, one, the coaching videos are helpful for you, and I'm glad that the mental health chat has been helpful for what you're going through as well. Appreciate that. Always good for people to mention that. It makes it clear that no one's by themselves. There's tons of people in here who have said the same thing. So you guys are certainly not on your own. And you've always got me to talk to if you need. And do these as often as I possibly can. It's a question that is tough. I keep sculling and chunking chip shots. Any suggestions? I would look at your technique, obviously. There's probably something going on there that's not too good. Honestly, I would recommend something like sign up for Gareth Rafleski's online coaching thing, the short game series. You can either just buy it outright, or you can sign up for a month for $14. Watch every single video. I think there's probably something in your technique, whether it's like a swing plane issue, whether it's a grip issue, technique, ball position, stance, something. There'll be something causing you to be super, super inefficient. So I'm obviously biased because I think Gareth is the best in the business for short game, but I'm certainly not the only one who thinks that. So I would encourage you to do something like that, or go for a lesson with a local pro that you respect, either or. But technique, there's probably something in your technique that's not jiving. Okay, from Nikolai, looking to buy a gap wedge to add to my set. How do you determine which bounce to use? Great question. Mostly based on your turf conditions, Nikolai, but I would say like anywhere between 8 and 10 and 12 even is pretty standard. 10 obviously being, well, actually I think 8 is probably the closest to the mid, 8 or 9. So let's just be super generic. If you play soft conditions a lot, you'll probably find that 12 degrees helpful to not dig just that little bit. If you play mostly kind of like mid conditions, or a little bit of both, something between 8 and 10 is probably great. And if you happen to play super firm conditions, maybe you live, coastal in the UK or something, a link style, or somewhere, I don't know where I'm going to pick, but somewhere that is maybe, I can't say desert golf, because desert, they water the crap out of the grass. So somewhere that has very firm sandy conditions, you might find something even under 8 degrees is more beneficial, so that you can get to those really tight lies. So if your golf course mows the fairways super, super short, and they're firm and kind of fast running fairways, sandy conditions, then low bounce is your friend. But for a lot of kind of like lush parkland style courses, the 12 degree bounce could be helpful. If you get a lot of rain in your region, just protects you from the fat shot a little bit more often. Yes, easy answer. Do I recommend a gapping session after going through a swing change? Totally. Yeah, your distances are probably changed. You may have had irons fit previously that were fit, to band-aid a swing issue that maybe you fixed. But it's always good to have a look at your your gaps on a periodic basis, just to make sure that nothing's changed and you don't have clubs that are kind of too grouped together. I don't personally do this. So the question is, do you adjust your grip depending on the type of shot you're trying to play, so draw versus fade? I don't personally do that. There's probably players that do. I would say, unless I'm playing something extreme, if I'm hooking a shot out of like the trees to try to pitch out, I'll shut the face, which is essentially a super strong grip, but basically you're just shutting the face and taking your normal grip. Or if I need to like hit a massive slice or something, then sure, I might weaken my grip. But for the most part, unless it's something extreme, I probably wouldn't recommend messing with your grip too much, just because it's a big variable, right? I would probably keep the grip consistent and use the swing path and direction and club face angle and stuff like that to play the shot you're trying to do. Cole, what are good and bad workouts for golf? Love the content from you and LC. Appreciate that, pal. I am not an expert in fitness, so I don't want to give you advice on this. The answer is probably not all that complicated, but I would encourage you to go seek the advice of someone who really knows what they're doing. Instagram is full of really good coaches that do fitness. Larry does do a lot of fitness stuff on his channel, actually, so you maybe check that out. He probably has a playlist. So check that out with LC. There's other people that do a great job also, like Drew Cooper is doing a really good job with his golf fitness stuff. Don't have videos yet, but they do really great Instagram content. So UGP, hat placement, out in California. Those guys do an amazing job with golf-specific training. As I said, they don't have a YouTube channel yet, but they generally will post quite a bit of stuff that their trainers do, just short clips that they'll put on Instagram, them working with students and not just regular people, also like stuff they've done with David Lipsky, stuff they've done with Colin Morikawa, some very high-profile guys. Bo Hosler also works out there at times, I think. So they're definitely good ones to look at. And I wish I could give you more, but check those people out, those three. That should be plenty. There's definitely stuff you shouldn't be doing for golf. I know that. There's definitely stuff that can be painful and detrimental to your golf swing, so you have to be careful. Marcus, what's the best way to take what you've been working on in the simulator and transfer that to the course? You tell me. I wish I had the answer to that. I am terrible at that. I think time is probably the best answer. I think you have to really not expect that something you've mastered on the range. I'm just going to use the range as a general, whether you practice in a simulator or outdoors. Something you may have mastered with no pressure on it, with the range situation, will take a lot of time to get onto the golf course. So I think you need to give it enough time to really sink in practice. It needs to bleed into the golf course play naturally. I don't believe you can be out there thinking swing thoughts and have any success. That's just my opinion. So if it doesn't seem like it's working, you just have to keep pushing, keep giving it more time, keep doing your drills. Eventually that's going to bleed its way onto the golf course for sure. The weather forecast is really, I'm getting people texting me about how good the weather is here. It was pouring rain all night and now it's actually getting quite nice. That's my pal Sam. I think he wants to hit a few balls this afternoon, which I think I could get behind that. Corey, appreciate you asking. How's the rescue dog doing? He's doing good. Let's see if I can get him in here. Archie, come. Archie, come. How's his obedience doing? Not very well. Normally I can't keep him off my hip. Archie, come. Come here. Come. You want to be a star? Oh, he's a good boy. Come. There's the boy. Okay, come say hi. Up. Good boy. Okay, there's Archie. There's the top of Archie's head. Archie's doing very well. He's doing very well. He's almost done his first course of training. He's done extremely well. He does have, I'm going to close his ears here. He is having a certain operation tomorrow. I know, I'm sorry. He is getting neutered tomorrow, which he's probably not super excited about, but it needs to be done. But he's doing great. Yeah, He's almost done his first course of training, as I mentioned. He did a good job, and he's listening very well on our walks and off the leash. He's been better in the house. He hasn't destroyed any shoes recently, and he's getting along well with his partner, so he's a good boy. Eh? You're a lovely boy. Okay. You gonna hang out for a bit? No, now I called you and you want to rub. Okay, come sit down. Come here. You're a good boy. Down. Good boy. All right, there's the man. Thanks for asking, Corey. He's doing good. He is a good boy. Okay, from Zach. Zach is asking, would carrying 5 wedges between my 44-degree pitching wedge and my 60-degree be a bit overkill? 48, 52, 54, 50. It's not overkill, Zach, if it suits you. I mean, here's the reality. You've loaded that part of the bag, I'm assuming, because that's where you play a lot of shots. If you're not playing a lot of shots from 240 or 220 and you don't need an extra hybrid or that kind of stuff, I say go for it. You've got the 52 and 54 is the only one that might be a bit unnecessary, but you know better than I do whether you use that shot often enough to justify it. 44, 48, 52, 56, 60 to me sounds like plenty. I would maybe if you see need for a spot in the bag elsewhere, lose the 54 and learn a couple partial shots with the 56 and the 52 to fill in the yardages. That's just my opinion. But as I said, if it's working well for you, don't question it. If you have plenty of shots and you use all those wedges all the time, then I say go for it. Why not? Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Who he's asking, after a 2-year absence, he plans on playing in his local club championship. How do you prepare mentally for that kind of tournament? Good question. I mean, I haven't played a lot of tournament golf, to be honest, Louis. I really don't. I don't compete very often, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. But I would encourage you to just, and I'm not using the term set expectations appropriately. I don't think that's, you can definitely go in with the expectation to play well or win or whatever your sort of your level is, but I would encourage you to go in with the attitude that you're getting back into it, more so than I have to play perfectly well, I have to win this year. So give yourself some time to get back into it. Try to have some fun with it, and just, if it doesn't go great, that's fine. Treat it as kind of a transitional year, and as you said, you're just getting right back into it. It's not like you've been competing every month, so don't expect too much of yourself. You may surprise yourself in that case, right? Matthew's interesting question here. So shopping around for my bros, picking up the game. Very nice. He has a bunch of old stuff and wants newer stuff, but is committed to taking lessons. Yeah, that's fair enough. Thinking stuff within the last 5 years of work. Yeah, totally. Anything from 2017 onwards is modern enough to suit him well. As you say, he's taking lessons. It's going to be, it's going to cost money. So it makes sense to go a few years old. Invest in the lessons, and anything that's been made in the last 5 years is, drivers, sure, they've come a long way, but there are some amazing drivers. As I said, even 4 years ago, I think G400 from think about how good that driver was from Ping. 2016, even with the M1 and M2 that TaylorMade had, those were fantastic drivers. Even today, you can still play those drivers. There's guys that do, so you are on the right track, my friend. Good question. What's my favorite club in the bag? Right now it is my Ping G425 5-wood thing that I've created. 17.5 degree 5-wood with an Acra TZ5, I think, in it. Yeah, that's my favorite at the moment. The intro song is one that it's like, I don't want to belittle it by calling this, but it's corporate music, basically. There's websites you can go and license stuff that's been made by musicians that's specifically for commercials and YouTube channels and stuff like that. So this song here, which you guys will recognize from the intro, you buy it, you get like ton of different versions of it. I got this one from, I think I got it from Premium Beat, this one, but I've used the Music Bed as well. Those are excellent sources for music that you're allowed to use for your own copyright purposes. Obviously you pay, but you get like different short versions of it, you get long version, you get like parts that only use certain instruments in it, so it's really cool. You'll notice that I mix it up as much as I can, when I make an Instagram clip or something like that. But it's not, okay, good. Alex is saying, yeah, good. That's what I was going for, Alex. Logo and music. That was my fancy intro. Joshua, it's a good question, and I've been asked this many times. Basically, have I ever pursued religion for mental health? So I'll say this. I wasn't raised in a religious setting at all. I've definitely talked to people who have found a lot of help and refuge, whether it's with their church or other faiths. I would never discourage someone from doing it. It's not something that I just don't feel would be appropriate for me just because I never really grew up that way, and it's just not a belief system that I think I could get behind, but I definitely understand the power of faith. I think it is extremely important. And so, whether you believe in that religion, in that sort of belief system, for me, something like Buddhism is a little bit more, I don't know, I just find it a little bit more relatable. So I think you have to decide whether something is appropriate for you, whether something resonates with you, but I absolutely respect someone's choice to really lean into their religion and their faith, because I think it's extremely powerful at helping you with mental health and addiction as well. I've met a lot of people that have had a lot of success going that route, and I think it's great. I don't have anything negative to say about it. It's just not personally for me, that's all, but I appreciate you bringing that up. Josh, great Q&A, thanks Josh. What is your favorite technique for finding the right tempo for your swing? Okay, I'm tempted by the Garmin S62 with the tempo mode. I'm sure there's a cheaper way. Yeah, there probably is, Josh. I think filming your swing is a powerful one, and Larry recommends that a lot. You may think, whatever, you've got a nice smooth transition, or you may think you've got a little pause at the top, and then you film it and you're like, oh God, like I'm just jerking my hands down quickly and I have no rhythm whatsoever. I think that's a great awareness tool. Now, do you need to get a piece of technology to help you with your tempo? I think it depends. If that's the way you learn, go for it. If it's not necessary for the way you learn, if you can film your swing or, I don't know, play a song in your head with a consistent kind of beats per minute that helps you time, the start of your swing, top of the back swing, follow through. If you can go at it in a simpler fashion, go for it. But honestly, if Garmin S62 sounds like something you get a lot of value out of, go for it. It's not like that's the only thing it does. So, and tempo is super, super important. I'm actually going to mess around with that, one of those G-Force super flexible shaft clubs. I'm just curious. I've seen tons of people review it. I'm really curious about it because I put way too much excessive shaft lean into all my clubs. It's appropriate for wedges, but once I get into mid to long irons to woods, the shaft lean's pretty detrimental. So I'm curious about a club like that if you can't even strike the ball with one of these trainers if you have too much shaft lean, obviously, because it just like puts the shaft so out of whack. So I'll probably make a video with it, and you guys can see if you think it's valuable. And that might be something, Josh, you look into for tempo, is one of these kind of tempo trainer clubs that you physically swing. From Barnaby, just want to say that your videos have been by far the most helpful for improving my game. You're more than welcome, my friend. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. It's my pleasure. Vince, this is a tough one because generally you need a lot more information than this, but I'll give you something. So Vince is asking, what do you suggest for a 90 mile per hour driver, speed, head and shaft combo? You're an 11 handicap. So 11 handicap is a pretty good player. I look at something this year, I think Cobra LTDX is a fantastic head. That would be a great one. That's their mid-range drive, not mid-range in terms of price. It's the driver in the middle of their range, literally. So there's a lower spin and a higher spin model. I think the X model will be perfect. Callaway Rogue ST is extremely good. Just their Max or Max LS, depending on your spin profile. You can't go wrong with the Ping G425. You really can't. It's just such a good driver. And I think don't overlook Stealth, not Stealth Plus, but the regular Stealth. It's really quite a forgiving head, and it may suit you quite well. In terms of shaft, I'm not gonna venture a guess. There are literally thousands and tens of thousands of shafts. For that, I would suggest you'd need more information, probably need to go to a fitter, but you're probably going to be 90 miles an hour with the driver, something in a regular plus 60 gram range. Look to what the included shafts are with the company you choose. Cobra, for example, has some really good choices. So if you can go for a fit, great. If not, try to do some research on the internet. But any of those heads would suit you well. All those companies made great stuff this year. All right. Ivan is asking, I'm having a problem with hinge in the driver and irons. I lift up sometimes. Any tips? Yeah, Ivan, I think, hinging or over hinging or the technique of hinging, I really like Larry's approach to that. He really simplifies it for a lot of golfers. I've seen him do it with me and other people I play with. Your wrist conditions versus worrying about traditional hinging. I would encourage you to go check out a lot of what Larry's got. The lift up motion can be related to your rotation or your posture. So, Larry's got hundreds of videos on YouTube now. His academy that we produced together is really good, so I would check it out. Just go check him out on Instagram or just LarryChungGolf.com. It's a 100+ video series that you can sign up for. Even if you just watched it once and canceled your subscription, you can do that and just use it for the year. I would encourage you to go through a bit of a process. The hinge is one that he definitely addresses, and then the lifting up can be a symptom of many things, which is why I would recommend you kind of go through that process. This is a great question from iGolf. If golf ceased to exist, what a tragedy that would be. And you needed to replace it with one thing, what would it be? Well, golf ceasing to exist would make me unemployed, which is fine. I would work on my charity full time. I'd obviously have to really work on it because I'd have to generate a salary from it as well. But yeah, I would work on the charity full time. I would be a full-time employee of the charity. I would do that as my job. Honestly, there's a chance I might do that in my life anyway, but certainly not anytime soon. But that's what I would do for sure. And if I needed a new hobby, that's a tougher question to answer. I'm not sure. Pickleball? Tennis? I can definitely see myself picking up tennis. I say that. I've played tennis a little bit here and there in my life. I think tennis could be like the replacement hobby for me. I really do like tennis. Hard sport, but such a good sport. Good question. Good question. Matthew's asking, I'm getting fitted at Whistlebear Golf Club next week. Very cool. Is it better to go in blind or having preferred clubs in mind? There's nothing wrong with doing some research or some short list of stuff you want. But I would go in with a super open mind. If the fitter asks you, hey, do you have your eye on any particular stuff? Tell them, for sure. Yes, I'm looking at the Callaway, or I really like the look of the Cobra. Help them narrow it down a little bit because there are so many clubs, they can't possibly have you try every single driver or 3-wood or iron set. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with narrowing it down a bit by having some preferences. Nothing wrong with that at all. Kyle, great question. Any advice when searching for a golf club to join? I see potential benefits from both a social and mental health aspect to be able to use the membership. 100%. It's a great boost to your mental health. It's, I've met so many great people, playing partners, friends through my local club. It's great to have a place to go where you don't have to worry about, who am I going to play with? Or, if that determines whether you'll play golf that day. I can always pick up a round with someone, even if I just know them kind of as an acquaintance at the club. Great to have a home base. So, when searching for a golf club, I would just look at the reviews and the reputation. I would talk to a current member if you can. So if you talk to the membership director, just ask, hey, is there anyone that'd be willing to chat with me for 5 minutes, get their experience? Hey, is this a club where people are friendly and I can just grab a game anytime, or is it a little bit more kind of small groups, whatever it may be. I would get someone who's actually played at the club and see if you can get not a long-winded advice, but just kind of their take on how the club is, the strengths and weaknesses of it. Justin, any tips for increasing, and I'm assuming you mean getting steeper, so yeah, struggling to hit down the ball. I would. So work on the drill that I did. The video is called Stop Blocks and Hooks, but the drill is literally working on getting your lead shoulder to work more downwards and around in transition and strike. So as you get to the top of the swing, for you, if you're probably too shallow, you're probably working this way. You want to work on, it's an exaggeration, mind you, but you want to work on feeling more downwards through the strike and around. Down and around with the lead shoulder. So as I said, the video I did on it is called Stop Blocks and Hooks. And the drill and technique is courtesy of Larry Chung, because he's the one who showed it to me. Drew, I have done a little bit of deep tissue massage. I think my body's starting to loosen up a little bit, so I may go back and do another course of it. It's been helpful for me, but as I said, I've done a lot of damage to my body over the years just because of how poor my mental health has been. But as I'm getting a bit physically healthier, I think, I could actually, to be honest, it's been tough for me to tolerate a massage in the past because my muscles have been too tight. But I'm getting closer to the point where I think I could probably get some benefit from it. So I appreciate the suggestion. From Nick. Nick is saying, pardon me, I'm going to make this a bit make this a little bit smaller. Nick is saying, wondering what things I can adjust to get height on my driver and irons. I have the swing speed to make good contact, but I struggle to get the peak height. Look at the golf ball you're using, Nick. You want to probably look at a higher spin golf ball, potentially. Check out how much shaft lean you have. You might be excessively holding your angles, trying to hold on to lag too long. You might want to work on your release. I don't want to call it flipping it, but it basically would be a little bit more of a release that lets the hands go, let your angles out of the swing a bit earlier so that you can actually get some launch and spin on the golf ball. So those are the things I would check out. Chances are one or both of those things would make a big, big difference. Scott, yeah, no problem. Follow up to the tempo answer where I said to Scott he might want to film his swing. What's the best way or setup of filming your swing? I would use your iPhone or Android phone if you have an Android phone. Go on Amazon, get one of their little devices so you can get an alignment stick that has a phone clip on it. You can get a bag clip that has a phone mount on it. You can get a mini tripod for like $20, any one of those things. Set that up behind you and just frame yourself up kind of roughly centered. Do a down the line video and then do the same thing from face on. Easy peasy. Little tips I would have is a lot of these phones now have a slow motion mode. That can be helpful. You can still play it back at full speed, but it can be nice to have the extra frames in there so you can slow it down a bit more and check positions. So super easy, man. That's what I would do. Get one of these Amazon tripods or phone clips and throw your phone on slow motion mode or extra frames mode so you can get a little bit more kind of detail in the swing. Mike, I'm assuming you asked this before. You must have caught him. But if you didn't, rewind about 10 minutes. He came in for a guest appearance. What else can I grab? Drew, yeah, I appreciate that, Drew. So done a lot of work with Larry over the past 3 years, obviously. When Larry and I started working together, he had a lot of work to undo. I had a lot of bad habits. So you would have noticed initially I was kind of very extreme with kind of no hinge. My left elbow was really far behind me, but we were still making a lot of progress. So it is much different. I appreciate that. And you're right. What am I most proud of? I think I'm most proud of getting my backswing into a decent position. I think if you had looked at my swing 10 years ago, my backswing was just such a mess. It was overly hinged and long and sloppy with the arms, overly rotated with the hips. And I think now I'm in a little bit more of a compact, reasonable position where I can start now to focus more on the follow through and rotations. So, where have I seen the biggest change in my game? Just more consistent off the tee. More consistent with my direction, and as long as I'm in a good headspace, I'm noticing that I keep the ball in play. I don't lose very many balls anymore. I used to lose a lot of balls. Those are the kind of the most noticeable things, and it's made the game infinitely more enjoyable. Derek says he's just had a lesson. He's hitting his irons better than ever, but now he's hitting his woods awful. Any thoughts? Any swing change, it will always come easier to the irons versus the woods. It's going to be awkward and difficult to have it bleed into the woods. I would just give it time. Keep working with the irons. Keep working on your swing drills. Sounds like you might have gotten a little bit steeper, and that may be a little bit detrimental with the woods, but it's going to work itself out, so just be patient. It could be that the swing change is more beneficial to the irons than the driver, but as I said, a lot of the time it's harder to take changes to the woods, so just keep working with the recommendation of your coach, and hey, don't be afraid to ask him. Just send him a message or follow up in your next lesson and say, hey, I'm hitting my woods like crap. Any thoughts? And see what they say. See what they say. But I would just suspect it's what I said, you know. It takes time. Definitely takes time. Dave is asking, he's got 95 to 100 mile swing speed with the driver. He's playing the standard Maverick driver head. Great driver. In 10.5. Interesting. Went for a fitting. Launch was 12 to 13. I wouldn't call that low though, Dave. That's actually really nice. Spin is a bit high. Fitter tried a low spin head. Is there a low spin high launch shaft? I would not try to make the shaft do anything. Honestly, you could probably keep that head and just loft it down a bit. Adjust it half a degree to a degree lower. Your launch is not low at 12 to 13. To be perfectly honest, you could afford to lose a degree on that, to lose a bit of spin. If you were hitting it 12 degrees, 2300, you'd be perfect. Even if you were 11 degrees, 2300, it would be near perfect. So I don't think you should buy a new shaft. I don't think you should necessarily buy a new driver head either. I would just loft it down. Do that and see what happens, because it's the free option, right? You can do it and it doesn't cost you anything, and see what the numbers are. Golf ball wise, if you already play Pro V1, it's not going to make any more difference. That's a great driver ball. It is a very good low spin ball off the driver, so I wouldn't do that. Or I wouldn't change your ball, sorry, that's what I meant. Okay, I am going to take a couple more guys and then I'm going to sign off. So let me just take one or two more. I appreciate you guys joining me for the hour. I think we got just about every question, so I appreciate that. From iGolf, my driver swing speed, is 112 miles an hour. Am I wrong for playing 68 gram graphite iron shafts? I mean, the traditional wisdom would say yes, but you have to decide if it's working for you. Do you have a tendonitis issue or some elbow pain that you're trying to use graphite for? You know, maybe the lighter weight suits you just fine. If you're striking it well and you're hitting it well, don't worry about it. But if you feel like you're a little loose with the irons and your accuracy isn't good, your strike is off, then yeah, maybe, because you've got quite a bit of speed. 112 miles an hour to be playing 70 grams in the irons, yeah. You're probably more like someone who should play about 115 gram shaft in the irons, or even 120. So all I would say is if it's working well, leave it. But if it isn't, yes, you could definitely afford to play more weight. I think the sun just came out for 10 seconds there. A miracle. It's been cloudy and miserable here for days, so I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit of sun. Last one I'm going to take from Andrew. What's a good drill to eliminate a chicken wing? Love the content. Appreciate it, Andrew. I think chicken wing, you could do a good job by working on Larry's long arm finish drill. So try to finish well rotated facing the target with your arms more or less. Oh yeah, look at that focus change. That is hideous. Long arms like this, extended. Try not to wrap them back up around you. It'll encourage you to rotate more and not send that lead elbow out, because you're staying too square. So the more you rotate, the more you can get your arms extended. The less you rotate, the more you face the actual golf ball, the more that elbow is going to fly out there and fall through. So, Andrew, I hope that helped. Good final question. I appreciate that, my friend. And everyone that's watching, appreciate you guys being here. Just quick reminders once again, if you are interested in getting a golf glove, Invictus does a really good job. I've been using them. And as I said, I will be doing a custom one with the charity logo very soon. You'll see that in the bottom right corner. That'll be available soon. It'll support the charity. But for now, if you want 10% off, I do recommend them. The guys do a really good job over there. Really nice company, and the quality of the gloves is really good. So that, you know, if you're looking for gloves, they make lefty gloves also. They also make like football gloves too. So if you're a multi-sport person, then you can get in there. And as I said, I'm looking forward to seeing, should be about 2 months for the custom one to show up for the charity, which will generate proceeds for supporting the charity, which I'm really looking forward to. And last but not least, just quickly, if you are interested, keep in mind I still have the channel memberships. It does help support the channel financially. Just helps me continue to make videos and stuff like that. So we've done some members only lives. I've done a members only video. Just fun stuff if you guys want a little bit of extra of yours truly, which you may or may not want. So as I said, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for joining me for the hour. And no more videos this week. I've had a little bit of a quiet week, but I will be back at it on Monday filming again. So I look forward to making you some new videos next week. Thanks for watching.